Hello, class, and welcome to week 15. The main topic of this week is the follow-up, and we'll cover that in two topics. So getting started with topic one, we're calling the creating a customer for life. As you see on the 7 steps in the selling process, we're down to the end of the process where the salesperson assures customer satisfaction and maintains customer relationships. So we've completed the process from step 1 all the way through step 7. What is the follow-up? Exactly, entails everything that takes place after the sale is closed. And we worked our way up to, as salespeople, we've worked our way up from the presentation to the close, and now that this is what happens after the close. And I think that's maybe where the word close is not always accurate in the sales process, because we've closed the contract, but we haven't closed our relationship with the customer, or we haven't made sure that what we talked about in the presentation and all the details that were handled in the close, we don't know that those are all going to be handled until we do an adequate follow-up. So it includes a lot of things, getting signatures, and again, of course, that depends on the kind of the nature of the product or service and the duration of it, and of course the cost of it. And it might require getting signatures from various levels in the organization, that if we're salespeople, getting contracts signed and signatures from people within our company, and also within the buyer's company. Although there's probably always, again, depending on the nature of the product, there's other paperwork that needs to be handled. There's scheduling, and there's a number of other activities that'll vary from product to product and customer to customer. But some of those examples are, in addition to signing contracts, there's always something to do with scheduling delivery, and always using, as we've talked about before, using hard and specific dates, being very specific about what we say in delivery, and who's responsible for that, and where the delivery will be made specifically. Make sure that, and then follow up on the delivery until we know that the product has been delivered. We're not yet satisfied with that. It's made correctly and on time is extremely important. There might be some scheduling to conduct some training. Training may have been one of the follow-up items that actually came out of the close. There may have been some negotiation there in the close that had to do with, because of the competitive nature of our industry, maybe we as salespeople had to agree to provide some training in the product. Thinking back to the dental office example that we've referred to a few times, this new software product may require some training, some hands-on training, and maybe the salesperson agreed to provide that as part of the negotiation and the selling of that software. I don't think I can emphasize enough the importance of ensuring that the installation is implemented correctly. Remember, our main goal was our goal in this whole process was to solve the customer's problem. And until the product is installed and operating correctly, and as we explained to the customer that it would be operating, and how much it would save, and how productive it would be, and how it would add value to their company, we're not satisfied until we have done a good follow-up and made sure that the installation was implemented correctly. There may be a need to do some credit checks, and as a salesperson for most companies, you probably would not be responsible for that, but you would want to make sure that those were carried out by the credit office in your company. You'll want to make sure that the customer is added to all company correspondence. It might be a weekly newsletter, a monthly newsletter. It might be a blog in terms of using how the product is used, but making sure that the customer is plugged into that and starts receiving the messages from the company, giving them the feeling that they've not only bought the product from you as a salesperson, but they've also bought the allegiance of the company, and they bought continued help that the company is providing through these webinars or blogs or postings about the product. There's certainly the need within the company, within the seller's company, to generate an invoice and to make sure that that is correct for a complex product. There might be a lot of details that you need to check on and make sure the customer was charged appropriately, and certainly not charged for goods or services that they did not receive. It's always nice, again, depends on the nature of the product. It's always nice to have some kind of a welcome package for the new customer. It might be some free merchandise. It may be something that they can display on their desk. It may just be some kind of a gadget that has your company name on it. But in any case, the welcome package is something that you want to send off to the customer. Make sure that that keeps the name of your company and sort of at the top of their minds, since they're may often see this product that you provided to them. It might be a set of coffee cups for their coffee room. Again, something just to remind them of you and your company's interest in their company being productive and profitable. There might be some key people that you'd want to introduce to the new customer. It might be people in the service department. It would be where to follow up if there are problems and issues. Certainly, you might make sure the customer knows they can always call you as being the salesperson, but it may be quicker at times for them to contact the service department if it's a particular item that your company is providing that may require some technical service that actually the salespeople aren't skilled, don't have the skills with, but where the customer can get quick answers to whatever problem they're having, say with the operation of the machine. And there may be some other key people. Just make sure that the new customer knows who those people are, and that make sure that you've provided those introductions. You can schedule what's noted here on the slide is a status call with the customer is always keeping them up to date, keeping them apprised of what's happening, whether with the installation, with the delivery of the product, any key pieces of information. Make sure that you schedule calls with the customer to take care of those particular issues. Like every part of the 7-step process in the selling process, plan your follow-up. Every step needs a plan, and along the way, make sure that you demonstrate at all times your personal commitment and connection to the customer. Send a handwritten note, handwritten thank you note. Those are more noticeable today since so few people send and receive those. So, take the time to give your personal thanks to the customer for doing business with you. And of course, you'll always mention that you look forward to doing future business with them as well. Make sure the delivery is on time and on target and as promised. If you can add value to your customer's business, there could be any number of ways that could happen. But adding value to your customer's business, it may include providing them with additional information about how to use the product or service that they didn't inquire about at the beginning. Remember, the the reason you probably met with a customer and started the sales presentation is because they had a particular need, that pain point. They needed a solution. They had a problem. They needed a solution to that. And your company's product solved their problem. This gives you a chance to add value to the customer's business because there may be other uses of the product or other uses of the service that go beyond just what the initial problem was. And if this is the case, make sure you provide that, and in a sense, the customer will thank you for getting extra benefits, for solving the original problem, but maybe a way to handle future problems that may arise in the future. The contacts that you have with the customer are the best time to get feedback, to be open for feedback, and both good and bad. And that's one of the things that sometimes salespeople feel uncomfortable with, is making a call to a customer to get feedback, with not wanting to feel having to deal with some negative feedback. It very well could be negative feedback. The product didn't work as scheduled. It didn't get delivered on time. Get the feedback, and so that you can quickly address the problem and keep the customer as a satisfied customer. Make your customers into fans. Make your customers into people who will not only be thankful to you, thank you for what you have helped them accomplish in their business by providing your product or service, but also if you make them into fans who will then tell others about the product. That would be a really nice benefit for you to be able to accomplish. Why follow up? Well, it's easier to keep an existing customer than it is to acquire a new customer. Some surveys have said that it costs 5 times as much to get a new customer as it does to satisfy an existing customer. Customers are all the work that you did from the first step in the selling process all the way to the follow-up. Just think of all that. Think of the cost of your time and effort in figuring out what they really needed and talking to them and coming up with a solution, in making your presentation and closing the sale. The follow-up is just a natural place to make sure that the relationship that you now have underway can not only grow, but it also prosper. And also a third point there is that the follow-up is usually the way that most customers use that to evaluate the performance of the product or service that they just bought. And it may be that this follow-up is it's more than one step. It may be an initial follow-up. Did the product get delivered? Was it installed? There may be a need to follow up in another 30 days, let's say. Okay, now the machine is installed. Is it operating properly? Do your employees who are using this piece of equipment, do they have any problems? And so let's take another look at it and see, maybe continuously, and have more than one follow-up, just so that we know how and get an accurate judgment of how the customer is evaluating the performance of the product that they just bought. Referrals are gold. They're golden. You can get those from satisfied customers. A referral is the best way to get another sale. If a customer is going to refer you refer you to someone else for your product or service, to sell your product or service to somebody else, it's most likely that they would buy the product from you again themselves. So referral is, when we say referrals are gold, it has a great deal of value. Not only it's a judgment on the part of the person you just sold the product to, but it's also their assessment of whether their friends and neighbors or colleagues in business should also be buying products from you. So referral, if you can get a referral from a customer, you're on your way to making more sales. Asking for a testimonial is another way to use this referral method. Is that on the next sales presentation that you are planning to make is to come back to the most recent customer that you sold the product to, and perhaps use them or use their words, or perhaps even use their facility as a place to demonstrate the value of the product or service. This is quite a common practice, and that you would, in a sense, be using them not only as for part of your sales presentation, but you're also helping them get connected to other people in their industry. Now, if most of the other people in the industry are all competitors, it would be a different story. But many times we're talking about products that are where the competitors are in. Let's say you're selling product, let's say restaurant equipment, or food sales that are used in foods that are used in restaurants. There are certainly ideal ways to have testimonials from people, customers who are on the other side of town, who are in no way directly competing with each other. So you can use satisfied customers for referrals, use them for testimonials, and you can also encourage them. And as you're probably aware from your use of in your shopping, that you know the value of online reviews and the value that you can get if customers speak for you in online reviews. Sometimes you'll have to ask them to do that. It may be something they'd be happy to do if you ask them. And so, go ahead and keep that in mind when you're thinking about referrals and getting the most benefit out of the sale that you just made. In many ways, then, the follow-up is like crossing the finish line. You have finished what you started. In another way, the follow-up is also like lining up at a start line. You've finished one part of the sales process, and you have done a follow-up with the customer, and they're satisfied with it. The start line metaphor here has to do with you're now starting a new relationship with the customer. You've done what you set out to do. You crossed that finish line. They had a product need or a service need, and you filled that need. Now you're lining up at the start line for a whole new race, if you will, in this event where you're starting the relationship with the customer for future sales, for future contacts, for referrals and testimonials. So as soon as you finished one part of the sales process with the follow-up then leads you into starting another part. And I think some of you in the class will identify with this, because I know some of you are within just a few weeks of graduation. And when you think of graduation and you think of graduation speeches, which this year you will be watching online rather than having a graduation in person, but you will see that graduation speakers often talk about that. Graduation is finishing one part of your life. You're drawing your college career on your current, at least toward your current degree. You're drawing that to a close. But at the same time, the word commencement is also used, and that means you're commencing or you're starting something new. You're starting a new part of your life. So in that case, the follow-up that we've talked about in the selling process also fits very well with what you're doing. Those of you who are graduating, I know some of you are graduating this semester, and I think the rest of you are probably graduating within another couple of semesters. So you're all looking at, in one sense, looking at graduation as a finish line, but also remember that the commencement ceremony or commencement is also the start line of a new phase of your life. So that's the last slide for this section of slides, and there will be one other section, topic 2, will be coming up shortly.